Hello guys! What do you do in the world and in the time when many of the legal mechanisms that are supposed to protect us seem to be broken, and the international organizations that are supposed to control the world order do not operate the way they should? And the Secretary General of the United Nations comes to an aggressor country, Russia, and hugs a criminal with an issued order of the International Criminal Court. Well, you serve justice the only available way, just as Ukrainian SBU did today in Sevastopol, when neutralized another big Russian war criminal. In the result of the explosion in his own car, a chief of staff of Russian missile ships of the Black Sea was neutralized in Sevastopol. And this is important for the justice in the world and the victory in this war. And this war is not just about Ukraine, but about the world order that we love and we want to restore. So let's discuss why such special operations are important for the punishment of Russian war criminals and what it tells for the future of Ukraine-Russia relations. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see Putin neutralized the same way, please subscribe. I'm sure we will discuss that on the channel soon. Because there is no other way to return this part of the world and world in general to normality. Laws are to be observed, and if a very big gangster mafia country starts violating them, it is a very dangerous precedent. China is watching, Iran is watching, and North Korea is already fighting with the Ukrainian soldiers. So we do have to be very realistic about all the dangers that our times impose. And that is why whenever I read about another justice served for another Russian war criminal, I am happy. And I was really glad to learn that another war criminal responsible for the deaths of dozens, if not hundreds of Ukrainian civilians was neutralized in Sevastopol. What makes it more symbolic, he was neutralized in his car that was standing on Taras Shevchenko Street. And you know that Taras Shevchenko is the famous Ukrainian poet, a symbol of Ukrainian freedom and bravery, and literally every main street in every Ukrainian city most likely will be named after him. This is another signal that Crimea is Ukraine and Crimea is returning back home. I would like to stress there is no way to end this war until Crimea is not back home to Ukraine. It is extremely important to return Crimea back and to demonstrate to Russia that its monstrous idea to restore Soviet Union or Russian Empire is totally impossible in the 21st century. So the man that was neutralized in Crimea, his name was Trankovsky, and he was a chief of staff of missile ships of the Black Sea Navy in Crimea. And most importantly, most of that Russian Black Sea fleet had to flee because of successful Ukrainian drone attacks, but war criminals remained on some of the bases, and that is why Ukrainian SBU had to develop a specific strategy to perform this act of justice. According to various information, including both from Russian publics and Ukrainian intelligence, it took a week, which is not long, to follow, identify the war criminal, and then to serve the justice. And I think it is a very important message to all of those who consider joining Russian army and participating in war crimes. You always have a choice. You may stay home in your mother Russia, and believe me, if you want to fight, there are lots of things you can fight for inside Russia. Subscribe to see the defeat of the Kremlin and more justice served. And please share these videos on your social media platforms. It is very important for the debunking of Russian myths and fake narratives. And right now, I am super happy to announce you that finally we have the English version perfectly dubbed in English of the documentary I was working last year on. It is a very important documentary about Russian propaganda and big Russian lies in various spheres of life. It has 6 series, and the series on history, where we debunk this total Russian fakes that actually distort your understanding of Ukraine, is already available, and I link it here. And I rarely ask you something that much, but please share these videos on your social media platforms, watch them. They will definitely help you speak with those who don't know much about Ukraine or who are poisoned by Russian toxic narratives. And actually it explains one of the main facts. Our war with Russia lasts for 300 years, when Russia decided to rebrand itself and to pretend that it is an heir of Kiev Rus, that it can somehow get more of the Ukrainian territories. It is not a US and NATO imposed war, as Elon Musk recently published. It made me furious, guys. It was yesterday, I guess, and you know, in the morning I have my fitness, and I was so angry that like my trainer, she saw that and she said, I think you need to spend more time on the treadmill because you seem too emotional. So please watch the video. I also leave the link on this Big Russian Lies first series on history on my community tab, and I hope you will like it. Please let me know what you think, and this is very important. In this very challenging times, when much depends on the decisiveness of our allies, Ukraine demonstrates that Russia can be defeated. Look at how we destroy their military potential, how we destroy their oil refining industry. And I had a feeling we were banned from doing that during the US election period, and now more and more targets on fire. And I think we can do more together. And I was surprised to watch the interview of one of the top NATO generals who actually said, if not the nuclear weapons, we would kick Russian, you can guess the meaning, out of Ukraine long ago. So if we understand him correctly, it sounds like if you have nuclear weapons, you can do whatever you want. Like, everybody understands you are wrong, but you can keep raping countries nearby. That's not the way to survive on the planet, because such nuclear powers will simply keep getting more and more territories, and you will end up being a part of Russia. I'm not sure you want that. And it actually applies to many countries. Look back into your history, and once again, watch the documentary. It actually shows how Russia distorts histories, not just of Ukraine, but of many others. For example, a famous Russian writer, Tolstoy, who wrote War and Peace, that many of you consider a masterpiece, actually in this work describes a map where we have Germany, and straight after Germany we have Russia. So no Poland, no Czechia, no Slovakia, no many countries. That's insane. And unfortunately, many of the political decisions are still made with this vision of the world. And we have to change that. Thank you so much for being friends of mine in Ukraine. Join me on Instagram, X, Threads, and Discord. And I've tried to make a Blue Sky account. I'm not active yet there, but you can find me as Anna from Ukraine, so do check. Thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. And do check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Remember to check the documentary. This is super important for me and all the team of Suspilna Kultura, which is a famous TV channel in Ukraine. And actually, the Ukrainian version of this series was broadcast on Telemarathon. This is like a top TV program here in Ukraine. So I will be very grateful to learn your opinions. Leave it in the comments and leave it in the community tab. And you know I love you, and thank you for being a part of this very important war against Russian evil. Slava Ukraini!